What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Farm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook live show. We have 10 games on tap here today for our Tuesday main slate. Your guy, James Grande, was on today's playbook. Sir, man, how we doing?
We are doing. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Appreciate
Happy
you
week.
and Henry filling in yesterday. Got a little
Happy
time off my
birthday.
birthday. Appreciate all the birthday wishes from every single one of you in the comment section and on Twitter asking about my condiment recommendations there. So happy to tell you guys that you don't ever use condiments in any of your food. Had a nice steak, tweeted that out, so you can go check out what my birthday dinner was. But now we got to make some money back, right? We got 10 games here on the main slate. We have Chris Sale going up against the Colorado Rockies at home here today. $10,800. It's Chris Sale. Got Paul Skeens, Luis Castillo, top three guys up over $9,000. Doing your playbook, breaking the slate down here. Are you just finding ways to get Chris Sale into your lineup here today?
Yes, it is just get Sale into your lineup and move on. I don't really need to add much. I don't. He's minus 155 to outright win.
Yep.
He is juiced since I wrote it down last night. He was minus 130 to go over 8.5 strikeouts. He's now minus 140 to go over 8.5 strikeouts. He's at 18.5 outs. That's the line he set. Basically even money on. I mean, there's nothing that needs. There's nothing
it's at
that
19.5 outs in some of the pick'em sites too. Like they're just juicing everything today.
That is the spot of spots. I mean, it's just the spot of spots. And like the other ones, the other guys at the tier, like last night we did a whole show with Justin Steele, and then Justin Steele's elbow imploded. So
yeah,
that was the worst. Then Paul Skeens, we've seen it over the last two starts. He's limited, and
yep.
he has an amazing ceiling, even when he's limited, right? He's also limited, and you're paying a premium for him. And Luis Castillo is on the road. I know it's a good pitching environment. I'm not saying it's not good in Oakland, but there's just something about the air outside of Seattle that Luis Castillo just doesn't like, and he struggles against lefty power on the road. That's what Oakland has atop their lineup, at least in recent weeks. So it's Sale, and then a large, probably the largest gap to like the next best pitcher of the day, which we have to play 2 on DraftKings, so we will. But I'm just saying, like between that top tier, it's Sale and a crater-like gap between the other two.
What is your next best starting pitcher on this slate? This season we've certainly haven't shied away from attacking the Red Sox with lefties. David Peterson right now pitching quite well. Last 5 starts, sub 2 ERA. Not a big strikeout pitcher, but obviously a strikeout ceiling potential matchup for him here. You got Ryan Nelson with the way he has been pitching at $7,200. Carlos Rodon, Texas, and their struggles just overall, but especially against left-handed pitching. Where are you targeting your SP2 today?
Skipped a lot of names. I was waiting for you to get to Rodon. Rodon is my next arm. So Texas releases its lineup. No Corey Seager. That's obviously been their only like basically good player.
Yep.
Salute to Marcus Semien's cousin who's in chat. So if you're listening, sorry. But Corey Seager's been their best player. There's been like signs of life from Wyatt Langford. There's been like 1 week of life from Adolis Garcia the entire year. Nathaniel Lowe's had like 2 good games the entire year. And there's just no one else, like when you're talking from top to bottom, that has the strikeout upside that Carlos Rodon has. 26% strikeout rate this year, over a strikeout per inning. So for me, $8,500 against a Seagerless Texas lineup, Rodon is it. 5 of the last 7, he's gone over 20 fantasy points. Even when you're just talking ceiling amongst everyone else. I understand the David Peterson pitching, and I understand he's pitched well. Does not get me excited for DFS.
Sure.
He does not strike people out. 48 strikeouts in his last 59 innings. He has 70 and 92.
Yeah.
So I'm not like necessarily all
A
that.
17% strikeout rate even during this like good run. But Boston, even as good as Boston, it's improved at times. Boston has been this season against left-handed pitching. They have Ref Snyder, I think, leading off
Yeah.
today. Still like a top 3 strikeout team against lefties. So
Yeah, and it's like, and in conversely, they also are better against lefties because they now actually play Romy Gonzalez every time there's a lefty, and we joked about it earlier, but like they're hitting that man fifth tonight. That's how good he's been against lefties, and O'Neill being back obviously lengthens the lineup against lefties. So, I I'm not crapping on Peterson because I do understand he has been a good pitcher. I just don't think like for $8,000, like I would the two other pitchers. One is Nelson. You
yeah,
mentioned I love Ryan Nelson 72. He's going to be a very popular SP2 tonight, just given how well he has pitched over a lengthy span of time. He's been very good. His last 11 starts, 2.77 ERA, 2.21 batting average against. I think the most surprising thing about this 11 game stretch, the 25% strikeout rate that
yeah.
Ryan Nelson has had, which you don't really look at a $7,200 pitcher and get that.
Right.
And the 43% ground ball rate, something you and I have talked about. He does a lot of home runs. Now has the last couple starts has a lot of home runs.
He
We
started
saw that
striking more guys out,
selling out on
giving
the
him more home
yeah.
runs, right?
Yep.
Like we talked
Yep.
about sort of the correlation when you have it that. Where are you with Walker Buehler? Obviously, he has not been the same pitcher. He's had a lot of struggles. Matchup against the Angels. Reed Detmers is on the other side of him here. Do you give any looks at Walker Buehler?
I am more likely to play Angels than I am Walker Buehler.
Okay.
I have an Angel written up in the playbook you can find at fantasyalarm.com right now.
Go read why
And
Nico Cavadas is James's favorite Angel.
definitely not Nico Cavadas. I don't think he's like had one hit since he called up. I got one other pitcher that I
Sure.
wrote up today, and I've said this a lot this year, and I'm gonna say it again today, and I'm gonna stand by it. And it's a tournament play only. It's not I mean, Ryan Nelson, Chris Sale, Rodon, those are like your safe plays. It's not Aaron Savala either. You know
Okay.
I love Aaron Savala.
I was to say you said Aaron Savala a lot this year. Okay,
I do love Aaron Savala. He's pitching really well. It's Brady Singer. It's Brady Singer because he's at home. And I've said that specific thing a lot this year. He has been really, really good at home. And I'm not sure what the correlation is. Elevated ground ball rate at home, floor fly ball rate at home, doesn't allow home runs at home. 5 more fantasy points. The batting average, the ERA is a full run lower. And we've talked about Cleveland a lot, and they are a very like kind of up and down offense. They're much better against lefties statistically. Still, even with like this latest hot streak of Ramirez and or Josh Naylor and Manzardo double donging the other day, like they are still 21st in basically every offensive category. They don't strike out a ton. You can probably put Singer and Peterson in the same bucket in terms of like strikeout upside. Brady Singer's a little cheaper against the less potent offense. So I'll take Brady Singer 7,800. I just like where he's been at home this year. I like the matchup against the bottom 10 offense against right-handed pitching. So that's your GPP play of that of the rest of the pitching.
We did just get a Corey Seager update. He is officially on load management for the remainder of the season. So we may be seeing Corey Seager 3 out of 7 games a week, 3 out of 5 games a week, or something like that.
Have we missed Corey Seager pitching out of the bullpen? Or
yeah,
is
he's on Kawhi Leonard status here. No back-to-backs and travel days.
Like I get it. I'm not saying I don't understand. Like you don't want the guy if he gets hurt now, like blows his ACL out. Are we missing the beginning of next season? Sure, but
absolutely brutal if you're like surging up a Roto League standings right now and like all of a sudden Corey Seager no longer
true. That would be
at your
tough.
disposal there. I don't know if Mark's still in the chat or not, but let's go on over to catcher. Where are we looking to build some lineups around here today? How much are you in on Atlanta against Kyle Freeland today?
I am I mean, I asked Henry that question on the pre-show, and the same thing pops up. Kyle Freeland on the road. I don't know. It's weird. It's super weird that Kyle Freeland is weird, like bad on the road and good at home. But that's where we are. I have Atlanta in the stacks section of the playbook. I don't
Sure.
have many written up, but like how bad Kyle Freeland is on the road this year. Not my favorite play.
Where are we going to catcher then today?
I do think that this is a position you can spend up on. William Contreras hitting third. Steven Matz making his first start in the majors since April. So I like Contreras 52, Will Smith 47. Reed Detmers allowed so many home runs at AAA this year.
Well, it's not good.
So many. Well, like Major League allowed a lot of home runs. Minor League allowed a lot of home runs. 22 of them.
PCL, right? But even then, just like ugly
just
numbers.
A lot of home runs, majors, minors, all the home runs. PCL, and now he has to face the Dodgers. Like that's his return. That's the Angels again. Like not liking the players on their own in their own organization.
Go check out my sleeper picks article. Reed Detmers over 2.5 earned runs tonight. Top play. So
I actually think DK now it's up to 3.5. I was just looking at it. I do think earned runs are now up to 3.5 just for context.
Probably. There. That might go over in the first inning. So
Cal Raleigh.
This is a Dodgers team that started the other day back homers off Merrill Kelly. So
Yep. I do think Cal Raleigh is always in play on the road. Another guy allowed a lot of home runs to lefties in the minor leagues. So that would be like my 4K tier. I think the most interesting thing I saw today was Gary Sanchez has top 5 odds on the whole board to homer today against Steven Matz. Wow. And like I understand he was like plus 320 to hit a home run on DraftKings Sportsbook today. And I understand Gary Sanchez has very powerful numbers against left-handed pitching this year. And I understand Steven Matz this year, like 167 ISO allowed, expected ISO was 182. El Gary 211 ISO, expected ISO 258, right? Really good numbers. But like top 5 home run odds for Gary Sanchez makes you just kind of want to plug and play that, because if you're getting a home run from a catcher at $3,500, you're in the driver's seat for the rest of your lineup, right? I mean, we talk about like why we like punt catchers. If you get like a punt catcher home run, like you're in prime takedown position. So I think El Gary is my favorite catcher of the day. Yeah. We built with Alejandro Kirk last night. Phillips is absolute dumpster fire against right-handed bats this year. Kirk has obviously been really good for like long stretches of the second half. So I'm mostly in this tier as Sanchez and Kirk for me.
Okay. Gary Sanchez 1 for 12 against Steven Matz lifetime, but that one hit was a home run. It was a home run.
I see. That was an IC3 stat. I'm sure IC3 is listening.
1 for 12. He's like does have the homer. Any other catchers for you?
I mean, you can. I know it's Skeens, but whoever the Cubs are, I think the Cubs. We just got a Cubs lineup. Whoever's starting for the Cubs, Bethancourt starting tonight. Yeah. Fire him up.
And it's Skeens for like 5 innings, right? And then
the Pirates bullpen, dude, it's bad. It's bad.
Ben are not even their closer anymore. They're making some changes in the back end there. All right, first base. Mentioning obviously Phillips struggles against righties. You get Vladdy there. It's 56. If you want to spend up obviously 7K for Ohtani or 52 against Freeman, we're certainly not afraid of the lefty matchups there, especially when we don't expect Reed Detmers to really be in there all too long. So if you are spending up today, no issues really with any of them. Do we try the Bassett versus lefties again? Because I feel like it just hasn't really worked out whenever I've tried to do it. I think you even faced the Phillies this year already and like didn't work out. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I like Philadelphia. I like them as an alt stack quite a bit. It's interesting because I mean Chris Bassett's been good. Like he's a good pitcher. Yeah. That just has a flaw, and his flaw is against lefties, right?
It's the Moneyball meme, right? Where he's like, Billy, here's Chris Bassett.
Yeah, here's Scott Hatteberg.
Yeah.
He gets on base. His only flaw
He can't
is he can't. We want him to play first. The only problem is he's never played first.
Never played first. Yeah.
So Chris Bassett 166 ISO allowed to lefties. Expected isolated power 204. So he's gotten like very lucky in that department. And still, even with that, lefties are still hitting 290 on the year against him. So like even with like some luck on his side, he has a 40% fly ball rate allowed, 45% hard hit rate. So I like all 4 Philly lefties tonight, including Bryce Harper. I think one of the more underrated spend ups, though, here at first, like you can obviously play Ohtani, but we don't need to talk about him here, is Vladimir Guerrero. And I think it's because the Phillips splits. Tyler Phillips has just been absolutely dreadful against righty power. And Vladdy, you've said it a lot this year, at home has been nails. And then Vladdy in general has been nails. But righties against Tyler Phillips this year, 303 ISO, 408 WOBA. With the expected numbers right there on par. So like anytime you start talking 303 ISO allowed, and then you pair that with like this guy, I mean, that's a home run waiting to happen. I saw a plus 500 for a home run for Vladdy tonight. I was like, if I was in a, potentially in a state to legally bet that, I would.
Sure.
So I love Vladdy. I love Bryce. Those are my 2 spend ups. And I'm not against like Ohtani. We might even get Christian Walker back tonight, but I'm not going to play Christian Walker at 53.
Sure. Mid-tier value first base plays for you today.
Yeah, like the mid-tier is whatever to me today. You could play Alonso. Cutter Crawford has seemingly figured out the home run problem. I don't want to jinx him, but
you gotta wonder if he's tipping pitches, right? We see guys go through that all the time, and just you gotta wonder.
He has seemingly 1 home run his last 5 starts suddenly, just like after 15 and 4,
and averaging a home run an inning for a little bit.
Right? So I mean, you could like play Alonso if you want. Olsen has been better against lefties lately. He's just been better in general. So if you want to play him against Freeland, you can. Naylor, we know, has been great lately. If you want to play Josh Naylor, he homered. You and I gave him that like the credit yesterday. Then he homers. So salute to Josh Naylor. If you want to play him, that's fine. I think like
dude, 2,900 again.
Dude, again. It's just going to be every year where we talk about it and we're like, oh, 100 RBIs again. Probably going to draft him in fantasy next year, and then you don't. I would say like the only other name I'd mention is Luke Raley. I like the lefties here against JT Ginn. When you're looking at the splits from AAA and the major leagues, a lot of power to lefties. So Raley's been fine, and you get Seattle on the road. But it's not a position I want to spend up at first base largely, or I'm basically spending all the way down because I'm being contrarian today against Luis Castillo. The field's getting to Luis Castillo. They're just double spending pitching.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in playing Seth Brown or in like the lefties, like Blade. Brown's 2,900. I'm interested in playing Brown, and I'm interested in Blade, and I'm interested in Lawrence Butler. Like that, I'd rather that side than the Luis Castillo chalk tonight, personally.
Sure. Would you go against Kyle Hendricks?
Yeah, lefties mainly. So like you do get Rowdy. We can get Rowdy here.
So we got a hot Rowdy Tellez at $3,200 too. 375,000 OPS over his last 10.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine getting to Rowdy. The lefties have given Hendricks fits. So
second base matchups up at the top. You're looking to spend.
Just go down. Just go down.
Just for the process. I have to ask you if there's anybody up top you like, but we all know basically all season long, whenever Ketel Marte's been out of the lineup, it's been value second base plays for us here. Cam the Man saying days ending in the Y, and Will Wagner at second. 3K hitting 5th here tonight. Got Romy hitting 5th here tonight. Gavin Lux 36, Donovan's 36. Like, where are you? What's your number 1 second base play today?
So I'll start. Number 1, I think, is Bryson Stott hitting 5th tonight against Bassett. But I told you I like Philadelphia, and I've liked the rhythm Bryson Stott. But there is not like a shortage of second base. Like, I'll start at 4K. I like Gleyber Torres leading off. He's been really good out of the leadoff hole. He's been really good lately. If you're playing Yankees, Gleyber Torres. Stott, as I just mentioned, love him hitting fifth. This is the best stretch he's had all year long. A little power, a lot of speed. You can play Merrifield, who's been good. Jimenez, since moving to the 2 hole, has been much better for Cleveland. If you're not a believer in Brady Singer, for what it's worth, Brady Singer's struggled against lefties, so you can play Jimenez here at the top of that lineup. Brendan Donovan hitting fourth. I know I spew a lot of Aaron Savale propaganda on this show, but Aaron Savale has struggled against lefties. Brendan Donovan has been really good lately. Play him 36. Geloff. You could play Polanco, who has been a corpse lately, but he's been good against righties specifically. Jeff McNeil, 3,300. Romy Gonzalez does hit lefties extremely well for what that's worth. I don't love the lefties tonight for Toronto, only because Phillips has just specifically been bad against righties. But it's something that Henry said on last night's show that is 100% factual. We've played a lot of Toronto lately and been interested in Toronto lately because they are just so freaking cheap, right? Like outside of Vladdy, everyone on Toronto is so cheap. And
Yeah.
Will Wagner's hitting fifth. Like you're getting a $3,000 5-hitter tonight against a pitcher who, yes, has struggled against righties, but isn't very good. He burst on the scene for 2 starts, right? 2 starts. He gave us 15 straight innings, and then everything else has been subpar. So Wagner for sure 5K, but like 3K or 4K and under is just a large player pool of options for us that we don't really need to go up
Great.
anywhere more than that.
Third base could be a spend up spot. Is
I
a spend
hate
up
this
spot for
position
you
today.
though?
I hate this position today. Like you can play Jose Ramirez. Again, guy's gonna go 40-40 and no one's gonna care. Not one person's gonna care.
Not one person's gonna notice.
Me, I'm gonna notice.
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna notice. I'm gonna notice. And the 17 Cleveland Guardian fans are gonna notice as well.
Kangas man will notice.
Well, of course. Like I would play Jazz against basically anyone at this point because when he's getting on, he's doing the Ohtani thing. He's stealing multiple bases, back-to-back days with 2 stolen bases. He's getting on multiple times a game. He's been good against lefties. I would play Jazz Chisholm 53. The Cutter Crawford home runs per 9 innings are very scary against righties. I would play Vientos because Mark Vientos is a very scary individual when it comes to power. That's probably him and Lindor. I would probably stack in like a little 2-man with the Mets. Eugenio Suarez 4,200. I like quite a bit. We keep talking about the run production. I just cannot believe that he has the numbers he has when he was going to be benched by Blaze Alexander earlier in the year. And like,
dude, he's hit 17 RBIs in the last 10 games.
It's just what it is. He is going to have 100 runs batted in. There's nothing anyone could do about it. So I like Eugenio 4,200, and the depth of that lineup could be crazy if Cattell and because both those guys are like this week, maybe today, right? Like it's like both of them. So
the team is hot without 2 guys that many expected to be 2 of their 3 best players,
right? And one of them has literally been their best player this year.
Yeah.
Minus last month, obviously. Corbin,
if they could find any pitching whatsoever,
Ryan Nelson, baby.
Right.
And then like you just start talking about some value options. I think the value is interesting. I do, if you're not a believer in the Rodon stuff, Josh Young, $3,800 hitting third. He's been better like very recently, 4 straight games of solid production. Ernie Clement is a righty, gets Phillips. That's something. Paul DeJong, we've talked about it all year. Paul DeJong has like 22 of 24 home runs against right-handed pitching. One of the 2 is a game time home run against Josh Hader the other day. Like one of the toughest lefties you could possibly face. But yeah, gets Tanner Bybee.
He sits fastball versus righty, and he just waits.
Yep. And then like possibly another cheap home run or cheap production. I really like the Brewers today. Joey Ortiz 3,300. I know like the numbers have been down lately for Joey Ortiz, but when you look at some of the numbers for Ortiz this year, 220 ISO, 339 WOBA against left-handed pitching. He's hitting 8th. He's cheap. The Brewers are maybe the most interesting cheap stack of the day because, like, outside of William Contreras, nobody's expensive in that lineup. Right. And they face a pitcher who hasn't pitched in Major League Baseball since April, hasn't really been good in the minors either. I would say the only concern is the Cardinals bullpen has been relatively good. And like if you get to that end of the bullpen and they have a lead, that's
Sure.
scary. Their closer has 9,000 saves this year. So yeah, I'm good with Ortiz in like in a Brewer stack as well.
Sure. Shortstop. Bobby Witt, Trey Turner, Lindor, Tovar, O'Neill Cruz, your 5K and above group. I'm sure we're not playing Tovar versus Sale, but how would you rank out the Witt, Turner, Lindor, Cruz matchups?
It all doesn't matter, John, because Willie Adames exists in the world. And I know, I get it.
It's a lefty.
I get it. I do. And I should care. I know, but I don't.
Did you see that the 3-run home run stat?
He's tied for the record with Is it Griffey that he's tied?
Yeah, he has more 3-run home runs than like any team in baseball.
I mean,
as an individual,
that one speaks to the Brewers. That like speaks to like they're just always on base. Speaks to one. I think it also speaks to him hitting like fifth, not like third. Because like if you're hitting third,
more
right?
opportunity
Like
for guys to be on base.
Yeah. Look, I understand that he has done all of his damage. I think Henry looked it up on the show last night. 26 of his 29 home runs this year have come against righties.
Yeah,
26 of 29.
We've been for 3 years. It's righties at
100% correct. Don't disagree. I'm not disagreeing at all. I understand what you're saying. Okay. I'm prefacing it by saying
numbers
that.
be
I get it.
We're riding the streak, is what you're saying.
He's hit 5 home runs he's hit 5 in a row. He's hit 7 and 9. Sure. Then
he can go 0 for 3 against Mats, but then he homers off the bullpen, and there you are.
But like some of even the expected numbers suggest that he's been unlucky. 125 ISO, not good. 167 expected ISO, pretty good. Sure. Big discrepancy there, right? Against a pitcher returning for the first time since April, still in his home ballpark. That's the caveat too. He still gets to see. His vision is still not impaired at home like it was in Tampa. He was drunk basically on the field when he was playing in Tampa, right? No Domingo Germán. Like he was drunk on the field, like without drinking.
He said
right?
He had a difficult time picking the ball up from the batter.
So I'm gonna, if I'm playing Milwaukee, Witt's a great play always. Trey Turner, great play. Like these players are great. They're all much more expensive than the best of the most recent stretch of time. So I'm going to play Adames. You can get to Lindor. I think he's elite for a home run. You can play O'Neill Cruz. He's elite for a home run and Witt. But I think I like Adames more than all of them.
Okay. Working our way into the mid-tier and value then. Anybody stand out to you?
Mid-tiers, whatever. Volpe.
Edmund Rojas.
Nato. You know me all so well. And the 23 All-Star Geraldo Perdomo, if he's leading off against a lefty. I would say those 3 largely would be like your plays. I'm assuming Orlando Arcia is going to get ownership because people still think it's the year 2023 when he hit lefties, when he has all but 1 home run against righties this year. So you could also, if you're playing a Brave stack, fit Arcia in there. So I think it's an elite value tier. And also, I will say, like Zach Nato, I know he's been bad, and I know largely been only good against lefties. His last home run did come against Kyler Montero, righty, and Walker Buehler has been trash against both sides of the plate. So if you're playing in an Angel stack, I think the Angels there's Angels in the outfield, John. I use this joke. Now I'm doubling down on that joke. I use that in the pre-show too, but you didn't get to hear it, so I wanted you to hear how good it was the second time. No problem. But I do think Nato would be probably the only other play. I mean, he's fine. Jacob Wilson. He's a very talented player. I don't think he's as good a value as like the Dodgers and Perdomo or even Arcia. But if he's in the lineup, I don't think we've got an Oakland lineup. Have we? Have we got an Oakland lineup yet?
Not that I have seen.
We just got an Angels lineup.
Did it just get in?
just got an Angels lineup, nothing Oakland related.
Outfield.
Oh, we did just now, literally now. It
Just
says
now,
now
yeah,
on my
yeah.
underdog MLB. Wilson is batting ninth.
Okay. Got
Nothing.
Gray. No Brown. Oh, no, Brown. Gray.
No, Brown.
Gray hitting eighth for them today. Seventh.
Seventh. Math is hard.
All right, outfield. Where do you want to go?
I mean, this is like, it's a loaded question. You could play anybody. Otani's obviously as good as it's going to get with the power. Judge is obviously as good as it's going to get with the power. Same thing with Soto, Mookie, Schwarber's elite if you're playing Philadelphia. Rooker's elite if you're playing the top half of the Oakland lineup. Ozuna loves lefties. Corbin Carroll can't be stopped. Tyler O'Neill can't be stopped when it's lefty specific. But you better hope there's a double down because he's definitely not driving in any runs. Solo shots only. I've said this a lot, and I'll continue to say it. When Giancarlo Stanton is going well, he is an elite baseball player, and when he is streaking, he is bad. Or when he is not like in that form, he is no upside. He is really good right now. So if you want to play him for a cheap home run, I like Stanton at 5K. We love Teoscar.
Cheap, 5K. Used to be cheap.
Yeah, it used to be cheap. Love Teoscar, 4,900. He's great. And then, Jackson Chourio is probably going to somehow hit another grand slam, even though he's leading
3
off.
walks in a grand slam yesterday.
Must be nice to have him.
Feels fantastic to have him on my team.
Yeah.
Christian Walker activated from the IL.
Wonder if the next tweet is Ketel Marte activated right after that. And then Arizona's been like running the gauntlet without actually, like you said, 2 of their top 4 hitters in their lineup.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
All right. Where else we going mid-tier?
Where else are we going mid-tier? I like George Springer if you're stacking Toronto. I like Jorge Soler for a home run. Both those guys are firmly in play. You can play Burleson. Lefties against Savali is a thing. Taylor Ward is interesting. He's been really good of late, leading off. Buehler's numbers have been worse against lefties, but he allows a lot of home runs. Taylor Ward hits home runs. So you could play Taylor Ward 43. I think it's an interesting play. Dude, Lawrence Butler he's just magical. Like, he is such a great baseball player. And every time I look, he has to have the most first or second pitch hits in the league. Like, I don't understand why people throw him these fastballs first pitch. And, like, he's going to swing.
Yeah.
Every time I look, it's first pitch, second pitch. But he's been amazing. And again, Luis Castillo against lefties on the road has been really like the sweet spot. Lefties this year, 227 ISO, 362 WOBA. He's allowed 2 home runs per 9 innings. His xFIP is terrible, 5.07, 43% fly ball rate, 500 slug. Like, there's no good numbers against lefties. And most of those are on the road too. So love Lawrence Butler, 42. Love JJ Bleday, 4K, who has really, really found a sweet spot later in the year, hitting third for Oakland. If you want to run a 3-man Oakland outfield, like, just run their 3 outfielders with Rooker, or just like play 2 plus Seth Brown and just stay on the lefty train. I love that approach too.
Slew of leadoff hitters there. Harris, Ref Snyder, Pham leading off in Kansas City now. Anybody else in this like mid to low 3K tier?
Yeah, Brandon Marsh. Include the names you said. He's hitting really well right now. He's a lefty against Bassett and has been really good against right-handed pitching all year long. You play Lars Nootbaar. He's been better lately, and Savali struggles against lefties. We don't have a Dodgers lineup. Maybe we'll get Pajes in the lineup. We don't know, but obviously when the rosters were expanded, he was called up. Ramon Laureano continues to rake. He gets a lefty in Kyle Freeland, and he's hitting in the middle of our lineup. He's hitting 6. So Ramon Laureano, 3,200. I like. And then I was waiting to see where the Angels were going to hit Mickey Moniak. That was the angel that made my playbook tonight. Moniak's $2,900, and he's been great. From March to July, Mickey Moniak hit 6 home runs. In the month of August, Mickey Moniak hit 6 home runs. So from the first 4 months of the year, he hit 6. Last month, he hit 6. Since the All-Star, or in August, he hit 359, 1100 OPS. And since the break, 560 slug, 881 OPS, 372 WOBA. Love Moniak for just a dumpster dive. Because, like, if you're playing Sale plus, let's say, Rodon, or Sale plus whoever else you want to spend up for, you're going to need plays like Mickey Moniak. And I think there's legit upside with him at $2,900.
Sure. Former was number 1 overall pick, right?
Yep, number 1 overall pick. And salute one more Brewer Hicklin playing for the Brewers. He was called up by at the the expansion. He had a very interesting AAA season: 21 home runs, 40 stolen bases, and hitting 6th. He hit 5th the other day in his debut. Hit 6th tonight. Gets the lefty in mats. Obviously, candidate to be pinch hit for, like, very clearly. He struck out twice, got taken out of the game.
Yeah.
But we've talked about this before, where, like, he's $2,000. He has a lot of upside in terms of power and speed in a really good lineup in a really good spot. So I would assume Hicklin would get more pitches to hit than Willy Adames hitting in front of him. But yeah, I think there's a 2K. I think you could do worse than a guy who has 20-40 at the minor league level.
Agreed. All right, Sale and Rodon. Is that where we're going?
I mean, I'm good with playing Rodon or Ryan Nelson. That would probably be like the 2 that we'd want to play.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll go Nelson then. We'll get some money saved here. What's your next plug?
Let's play Moniak just for savings. Because I really don't like Walker Buehler.
Okay.
I actually had a thought for like 1 minute today. Like, do I consider Walker Buehler? And then I was like, no, I can't. I looked at the numbers. I was like, no, I can't. Even like the peripheral numbers stink.
Doing Stott here or Wagner?
I like Bryson Stott if we want to go Bryson Stott. And I think El Gary 3,500, dude. I can't get past the home run odds. Like, I get it. He's $3,500 hitting 4th with like the 5th best home run odds of the day.
Sure. All right. We got about $4,400 a play, $4,300 a play. First base, you had mentioned obviously liking Vlad.
Vladito or Bryce for me would be the pick. So one of them is the cover of the pre-show. One of them was the cover of this show. So, like,
do you plan on putting any more Blue Jays in our lineup?
No, I mean, it would just be the righties for me. So, like, the better correlated play is Bryce because
third base.
I hate this position. Hate it.
Let's do a one-off play then, like Ortiz here.
Yeah,
actually, it wouldn't even be a one-off. It's not correlation, but lineups, little lineup stack there.
I'm good with that.
Shortstop. One of Edmund Rojas Perdomo.
Yeah, or Willie, but it just depends on what we're doing with the outfield.
Like, Willie gives us more lineup correlation. So
it gives us more correlation. It just basically takes us off Dodgers. That would be the only thing. Like, Dodgers,
like the Oscar in there for one.
The Dodgers are the top. Like, that's the top stack of the day. I think. Like, it's hard to like not. They have 5.6 implied runs. Only starting pitcher on the day that has more than 2.5 earned runs expected is the starting pitcher against them, who has a home run problem. You win tournaments with home runs. Like, that's my one. I don't hate it. I mean, he needs to be in the lineup. Right? Yeah, he needs to be in the lineup, but I don't hate it. And I think what is Edmund?
I said Edmund's 35, I think, right?
Yeah,
34. He'll definitely
34. Be. So like if you have
can get the money to make the pivot. Pa has more power, right? So
Pa has more power. Not necessarily true though against lefties. Edmund does no power against righties, but Edmund 800 career OPS, like 200 ISO against righties for his career or lefties for his career.
Sure. Right. Example lineup, you can move it around as you want. Sale, Nelson, Sanchez, Harper, Stott, Ortiz, Adames, Moniak, Hernandez, and Pajes here. You know where to find this over on the X Machine. Get in that Discord. Go check out the playbook. We'll be back live for tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that share. Free way to support the work we do here over at Fan.